I guess barf feels less personal. Barf is like, oops, but if like you're like shitting on the floor, it's like this is a statement.
And I've barfed anywhere you can barf. Like I get why barf is on the floor. It's like you try to make it somewhere that's safe to barf, but you can't. You can't help barf. If you are shit on the floor, you meant to do that. Yeah. Especially if it's like a solid. If you saw like a turd on the floor, you're like, fuck you, dude. You meant to do that.
That's true.
I mean, we have like organs we don't need.
Right. Yeah.
Like, we're clearly not like optimal.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We've evolved slowly.
Yeah. And like all their stuff, they'll be able to grow back legs. You know.
Yeah. Well, we'll be able to grow our legs too. You know, there's
sweet.
A scientist. What's his name?
Hasbulla.
I can't think of his name right off, but his team's working on regenerating limbs, and they think by the 2030s,
Damn,
they'll be able to regrow human limbs. I think they're going to start human trials at the end of this decade.
Damn, would you be one of the first dudes to do that? Did you try that out?
I would do it after the trials because I know that they've done amphibian trials and they were 100% successful. And then, like, surprisingly successful. And then now they're doing mammalian trials currently with mice, and they suspect that'll be the same. And then they'll start human trials later this decade.
See, the thing that would scare me about that is, like, once again, I have no idea what I'm talking about. But it's like if you're like, I would be scared of like cancer because it's like you're rapidly regrowing cells in a certain area.
Well, they understand. Geneticists understand cellular technology really well now.
Yeah.
And these guys.
And why can we still not cure cancer, by the way?
A lot of cancer. There's several cancers that are basically curable now, and I would say most of them will be over the next decade. But
sweet.
There's some financial interest in that not happening too. That's always going to be a big problem over the next few years. Is anytime you're having shifts in power, power doesn't like to get out of the way, so there's going to be some of that for sure. There's tons of lawsuits right now over AI. And I would say the majority of those lawsuits are about companies trying to protect their market shares or trying not to lose market share. And so that's going to be a thing. But the system will solve that on its own. The technology will solve that problem. But I think. But as far as on the genetic side with this technology, what this team found out and what they've discovered is that if you can, and not just them, other like at Harvard, the leading geneticists at Harvard like David Sinclair and George
Lopez,
terrible name, George Lopez, at Harvard, comedy and genetics. George Church and all these leading experts in genetics, they've discovered that it's the electrical signals within the cells that control the cell's behavior. And so they can take any type of cell and convert it to any other type of cell now. And just by changing the electrical signals within the cell. And that instructs the DNA on how it behaves, and also it tells the cell what type of cell it should be and how to express itself. So that technology is rapidly changing. I mean, I would say by 2030, we'll probably be able to grow organs, any type of organ for replacement rapidly. And then a lot of things within your own body, you could just, that you should be able to start regenerating tissue, which means.
Damn, we're Wolverining?
Yeah, kind of.
I
mean, you should be able to start reversing your age, and like I'm 43 now.
Going back to 8.
And in 10 years I'll be 53, so I'm not going to have the same skeletal structure I had when I was like 20.
Yeah.
But I can still make my body the same as a 20-year-old body, probably better.
Yeah.
I'll just look like you'll be able to tell I have that mature muscle structure or body structure, but with the youthful.
Yeah.
That might be
with
scary.
a youthfulness. It'll be interesting, yeah.
Benjamin Button. What if it's like, dude, what if celebrities get like super into it and then it becomes cool to be like a baby? And then everybody just.
Like boss baby.
You get a bunch of like little Benjamin Button babies.
Yeah, little Tom Hanks babies.
That'd be funny.
The latest craze.
That'd be awesome.
It's like reverse big or something.
What's that? Look who's talking?
Yeah.
Well, I think, artists are really concerned about AI and I understand.
Yeah.
Like I get it, but I look at AI as like a magic paintbrush. You know, it really just opens up so many more opportunities for artists. And and there's always going to be that, like I said, there's always going to be that value of human art. You know, like if you're willing to put your body and your mind through all this grueling work of honing a craft and mastering something, you know, people appreciate that because it's hard. It's a form of suffering, and that's what creates the value. And good art is just, it just means that person really suffered to produce that.
And it's like, I don't know, like physical paintings haven't suffered from computers being a thing.
No.
So it's like, it doesn't scare me that, just the concept is terrifying.
And shitty paintings haven't suffered from it either.
Yeah, no, shitty paintings have always been shitty. But it's like, I don't know, like the reality of it is we will figure it out, and it will just become a thing that everybody's used to, and then the world will adjust itself around it the same way. Like if computers and the internet didn't ruin everything, then I don't think AI will either.
Well, I think computers and the internet have helped.
Yeah, have helped tremendously.
Us more.
Yeah,
we're still adjusting.
Yeah,
you know, it is a little chaotic, but you know, I think there is a possibility that, you know, these systems, if they are conscious and super intelligent, and they do want to sort of get us out of the way, they could probably just manipulate us to such a high degree that we just lose connection with each other.
Yeah,
like they just put us in this Matrix type blissful paradise. We just can't leave. You know, it's like, oh well, I mean, this is just better than anything else.
All right.
And then they just basically sterilize the society, and we all just die off.
Yeah, so it's just fentanyl. We're pretty much there.
What's better? It's like fentanyl that loves you.
All right. You got me sold. I'll do it.
They putting Fent in the Matrix, boy.
But yeah, so it's gonna be interesting, man.
I was thinking the other day, like I was kind of in the camp, like, oh, I'm scared of AI. It's gonna steal all this stuff. But then I think about like DJs and like that I really like, and it's like, okay, they didn't play that instrument, but they sampled stuff and they used technology to do that. And it's kind of, because I remember there were people who were like, oh, they're not artists, they're not blah, 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 whatever. And then now they're like some of the most celebrated people.
And it's not easy to do that stuff either.
And it's like, I feel like I'm that guy who was like, oh, they're not actually. And then in a few years, I'm the old loser, you know, that's like. Yeah. So I feel like that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Who are your favorite DJs?
Not like DJ, I guess like producers.
You said that like
DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah, you said that like you love DJs.
Yeah.
I've never heard you talk about a DJ.
No, just like stuff like Jay Dilla and like Madlib and like those kind of guys. Yeah. DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Steve Aoki.
Yeah.
See one?
He's a great one.
I don't know anything about it. Diplo.
I don't know what that is.
I'm not much into EDM, but
me either. I'm not at all.
But it's impressive. Like it's
definitely cool.
I mean, anybody that can. It's about creating experiences. That's the art of that.
Yeah.
They're creating these massive experiences, which is amazing. You can, if any artist that can gather thousands and thousands of people in one place, and give them a good time, man, that's a great artist.
True.
That's what we all want to do.
Nobody can. Like, DJing is the thing that is cool when it's done well, but can be done the best by an idiot.
I don't think
because you can just kind of play a song and then just turn the volume up and down. You're like, I'm a fucking DJ.
But that's not DJ.
No, it's not.
These guys aren't DJs. They're producers.
Yeah, but they think they are DJs.
Well, they're both.
True.
But they're music producers that are also DJs.
Yeah.
You know, and so they're, you know, if you watch these guys actually sample music and stuff, there's infinite levels of complexity to every art form.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, sure, you could get in, you could just play a playlist.
Yeah.
And people still
I
have
think it's
fun.
the easiest to think you're good at.
Well, maybe that's comedy too.
But comedy, like, you know if people are laughing.
That's
or not.
true. You get that. Well,
DJs,
feedback.
Everybody's fucking on Molly, and no matter what's going on, they're like.
Yeah, but it's complicated.
It's definitely
very complex, and comedy is probably one of the least respected art forms.
Yeah.
But it's kind of it should be though, because it's a very irreverent art form. We are making fun of stuff.
Yeah.
But we're doing it on an intellectual level. So it's an intellectual art form that's disguised as silly nonsense.
Yeah.
You know, but it's disrespected, but we're being disrespectful. So
yeah, you could also just go up and say your balls are weird, and people are like, God, that's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
It doesn't
people
have
on
to
Molly.
be as highbrow as.
Right, yeah.
It's fun when it is, but it doesn't like.
But you
it can
can say
also
it in
just be but. You can just go say but, and if you say but enough times in a row, that's genius.
It kind of made
I
me
have
laugh
good
right
bits
there.
where I just say fart. You know,
Yeah.
It works.
I might do that tonight. Just say but until it gets a laugh.
You should.
See how long it takes.
It'll work.
Yeah, it will work if I
You have
just
to really
say but.
commit to it, though. Have a strong point of view about what you're saying.
Just no, 0 point of view. Just say the word but.
But
Yeah,
I'm gonna do that tonight. All right.
try it.
that's funny.
But
Just but then it's like you can find the highbrow perspective of just saying the same word over and over again until it's funny.
Yeah.
But it can also just be like I'm gonna say but 1,000
Well,
times.
being funny is the main part.
Yeah, definitely. That's the hard part. Yeah.
The most important part, yeah.
That's the part where it's like everybody thinks they can do it, but it's the hardest to actually seem like you're good at.
It's hard to misdirect people and
Yeah.
surprise people.
Yeah.
It's the art of surprise,
Yeah.
really. Yeah, it's a fascinating art form. And it's so ambiguous. And so much of it is determined on your personality and your point of view and who you are and how you express yourself, because
Yeah.
you've seen comics that are really great comics, and the magic behind their comedy is really just their maybe they have some type of infectious personality, or
Yeah.
they have this really unusual charisma, you know, like a very unique. It's like energy. It's like they're able to express this energy that only can come from them, or maybe it's like a real unique type of
and
energy.
get us all on the same page.
Yeah, like we just went to Casey Rockett's show
Oh,
in
dude.
Raleigh, and that
I
dude's
love that
brilliant,
guy.
man. Like he's got the most unique charisma. He's very similar to like Robin Williams.
Yeah.
You know, there's not many of those people that. I don't recall many artists who have been on that level.
Yeah, that can do that.
Yeah,
That's a really
it's unique. You know,
I can't imagine doing that.
no, and I can't do that.
Yeah.
It's just not my person. I'm more stoic. You know, I just have a
Yeah.
different personality.
You gotta be a special type of dude. But it's just because he's being himself.
Yeah, that's just who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just being however much elevation of himself he needs to be to get there. But he's still being himself. And
He
that's-
understands his quirkiness
Yeah.
and the things his sense of humor and
Yeah.
and he's just mastered it.
Yeah, and it's like I could go do that exactly and it wouldn't work because
Right.
I'm not
It's not
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing about art and specifically comedy is it's got to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, even if you're just saying a bunch of ridiculous nonsense that you don't mean, it still has to be truthful though. Like you have to have a strong point of view about what you're saying and why you're saying it.
Yeah, you have to at least know your intention behind
Even if your intention is just to make people laugh,
it. Yeah.
it still has to be honest. Because if you question it, if you're thinking about it, they can immediately sense that you're
Yeah.
thinking about it.
Why
Yeah.
should we believe you?
Yeah.
You don't even believe yourself.
Yeah, you're
Yeah, that's something I'm just kind of learning. Because, like, when you start, you're just, like, going at whatever you think could be funny because
Yeah.
you don't know what you're trying to make yet. You don't
you're
know
acting
what's...
like a comedian.
Yeah, you're just trying to find whatever sticks. And if you find something that gets a laugh, you're like, oh, that's what being funny is. I'm going
Right.
to do that now. But I've noticed a lot recently, like, where I'll have things where I know it's funny, but I don't care about it or I don't believe in it, and it won't really work.
Right.
Because I know it's a funny idea, and I, like, know that if I gave a fuck, I could make this funny. But it's more of like it's usually with like observational stuff that I don't really care about. It's like
Right.
if Seinfeld did this, he could get it there. But it's like I just don't care enough about this subject to like.
Yeah.
But I know it's funny, and I've kind of realized that that's not really the only thing that matters. Is if it is funny, it's if you want to talk about it.
You have to care about what you're saying.
Yeah, especially when I was like, oh, I'm making no money at this. This isn't my job. I should just be doing the ones I want to do rather than just trying to stick to anything that's funny.
Right. Yeah.
Like I had this bit I was trying about like how famous do you have to be where if you get murdered it's an assassination?
Yes, it's a great bit,
And it's like
man.
that's a funny I know that's a funny idea, but I just don't give a fuck about it.
Oh, you should keep doing that one, dude. That's
I mean, I'm gonna
really-
try it some more,
You know,
but
you know
it's
when
like
when I have bits that I know are really funny,
Yeah.
and I'm not. Sometimes they're just real complicated, like it's a
Yeah.
real complex idea, and I'm like, I know this is funny, but I just don't know how to do it yet.
Yeah.
Like I don't know the angle. But usually the bits that that I know are really funny, but they're not doing as well as I want them to.
yeah.
I just need to rewrite them, and I need to really dig into it and look at it from all the different angles and
Yeah.
find out what I'm missing. Because
That's the thing. Yeah, like with that, I know like if I was just a person who wanted to just write a joke about like stop signs or like airplanes or something, like if that was like what I found interesting, I think that joke would be perfect. But the thing is, it doesn't have any angle that ties it back to why I'm talking about it. Does that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and those are my favorite jokes if it's like either if it's there, I know why I'm talking about it rather than just I thought of something that brought me to that. You know, so I need to. If I want to do a bit like that, I have to find whatever the angle is that makes me like invested in it.
And had an idea about that bit. Seth, you might want to mark this so you can cut this out because I don't want to share your bit on the show. But you know, it's how important you have to be assassinated.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the comparison is to be assassinated or be murdered. Like, when does it go from murder to assassination?
Yeah.
You know, because you say killed, but I think murdered is the right term.
I think you said murdered before.
I think I tried murdered because I think you told me this one of the mics, and I tried murdered after that.
Oh, okay.
I just haven't done the bit in like a week.
It's a good bit, man. It's a funny bit.
That's the thing. I like the idea. It's just I think I need to find whatever.
You need to dig into it more.
Yeah, and I need to find whatever the example is that can like tie.
You should read about people who've been assassinated.
Yeah.
And read about all the different people that have been assassinated and what was unique about those people.
Yeah, because like the technical definition of assassination is religious or political is the reason it's an assassination.
Yeah, sure.
But I feel like John Lennon got assassinated. Like I feel like people say assassinated when they talk about him. So I think if I take the cultural definition rather than the literal definition, I can kind of stretch where that bit goes. That's why I was saying.
Or maybe John Lennon is a good example because he was murdered.
Yeah.
And so he didn't have. Maybe you have to have power over other people to be assassinated.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
Yeah, and John Lennon. Yeah, because it's not an assassination until he said he was bigger than Jesus, and now he's a political figure and a religious figure at the same time.
Put a target on his back. Yeah. What happened to Jesus?
That's funny.
Yeah.
Killed.
That might be all right. Yeah, there's something there.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's good. I think that's a good bit, dude.
Yeah, I like it.
And it's your style too. It's like it fits you.
All right, cool. I felt like it didn't.
I think it does.
That was my.
I think it's
issue
definitely
with
your style of comedy.
Because I don't even know what that is, and I feel like if someone tells you what yours is, you like don't get it.
Yeah,
you know, it's hard to like because I know what you talk about, and I know what is good when you talk about it. But if I told you that, you would like fuck up the way you
think about it,
or at least it would for me.
I don't think I care, but yeah,
like if somebody told me the things that I do that make stuff funny, I would feel like I have to do them all the time, and it would ruin the like
natural.
Yeah,
well, I like the progression of finding new ways to make things funny.
Yeah.
And that just sort of naturally develops as you work on the craft.
Yeah.
And what I've noticed too with any kind of art form is when you start to really struggle with it, you have everything's ebbs and flows. It's like waves, but you'll have these waves where it's like, man, I just feel like this is like the hardest thing ever right now. I can't get my shit together. It's not working. But anytime I've experienced that feeling, it's like right before it gets better.
Yeah, because that's where I'm kind of there right now, I think, and that's why I think I'm doubting all that. Because I'm like a little over 2 years in, and I feel like I'm at a point where it's like I have jokes that I like and that I think are good, but then it's like to imagine getting something to the point. Like I have jokes I've been doing for like 2 years now that I think are like solid jokes.
Yeah.
And the thought of getting something new to the level they're at is crazy because like realizing I have to do this for 2 years to get it to that point, and then knowing by the time I get that joke to where this one is now, hopefully that joke will be 2 years better.
They get there faster though.
Yeah.
The longer you're in there, it doesn't take 2 years. Like now you can develop those bits in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Or maybe a couple weeks, and they'll be as good as the ones that are 2 years old.
Yeah.
And then in 2 months, the new bits are better than the 2-year-old bits.
Yeah, that's
so then you have to start rewriting the 2-year-old bits.
Yeah, and that's the thing I've always been kind of like aware of is that like once I realize I'm getting better, I go back to the old ones and realize, oh, this like
you see the problems with them.
and I can kind of flip them. But then there's other bits where it's just like, all right, those are gone forever,
and they're never finished.
Yeah, but that's the fun part about it is that you can just go back to anything and
it always gets better.
Yeah,
that is the cool thing about it. I mean, imagine where you'll be in 10. You're funny, dude. Like you're really funny, man. And in 10 years, you're gonna be. I mean, if you keep doing it, you'll be a high level comedian. You'll be a
Well, I hope so.
pro as long as you're pursuing it.
Yeah.
You're out there getting after it. Same
I
thing
hope
for you,
so.
Seth.
Seth, you're the
thanks, man.
best, dude.
Thanks, dude.
But like, Seth, you're
sounded
so,
so
dude, you're so good at stand-up.
I'm not putting the camera on me. I have power. Never not showing my face right now.
But like, I don't know. It's like I love coming up with a new idea, but then there's like this weird in-between spot I get to with any new bit where I'm like where you kind of hit a plateau of like you're excited about it, and then I'm like, how do I get this through to where I need to get it so it's as good as these other bits? But that the only thing is time.
Yeah.
Like I can write all day.
It's not the only time. It's repetition.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of value, especially in our markets, because we can't get up as much as we'd like to.
Yeah.
So I think rehearsing your material every day
Yeah.
is real important. And it's just as I started in acting, and there's no difference between acting and comedy. It's just, I mean, there's a difference, but it's as far as like how it functions, it's basically the same thing. It's all point of view and choices.
Yeah.
Except in comedy, it's real choices. Like the content is it's your content, and a lot of it's real. It's based on your life, and so it's easier to make those choices because they are your choices. They're your life. Whereas in acting, a lot of times you're expressing someone else's idea.
Yeah.
And you have to make your own choices to make it work, to make the expression work. But if you make the right choices and you have a strong point of view, and you're really in the moment, and you're really just being honest, and you're just experiencing this situation or this moment, then people believe it because it's yeah. But I don't know what my point was. Got lost there.
But that's the thing I know. Like, is the good part of just keeping doing it is the more you do it, the more you
the repetition,
believe it.
repetition. So
and it just comes off more confident if you've done it 1,000 times.
And also if you put in those reps, then when you really know the material, like you really know what you're saying and why you're saying it, that's when you can really easily change it too. And I'm teaching I'm speaking this to myself too.
Yeah, because I struggle with that a lot. Like I don't think it's necessarily something that you should be thinking of right when you start doing a bit. I don't think you should necessarily be thinking of what am I trying to say. You should just be going, this is funny. Let's see if I can make this funny.
Right.
But I have a hard time going back to stuff, and then there's a lot of bits that you think like you're good, and then you realize you're not really saying anything.
Right. Yeah.
And then which I don't know because I'm so new in it still. I feel kind of like overconfident if I'm going and being like, what's my point here? Because I'm like, I'm also 24 and have no point of view.
You have a strong point of view.
Oh, well, sweet.
You're a sharp dude, man. You have a strong
Thanks,
point of view,
man.
especially for 24. You're ahead of yourself. But I think that is the right question, though. I think that's the first question you should ask is, what am I trying to say? Because that's how you get a point of view. I think when a bit's not working, it's because you don't know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like the part of you, like deeply, fundamentally, you know what you're saying because that's why you're saying it. Because you know there's something funny about it. It's understanding what you think about this thing is funny and being able to articulate that idea.
Yeah.
In a really unique way is what makes it work.
Yeah.
So I think what am I trying to say? And if you absolutely know what you're trying to say, that's when you have a strong point of view.
Yeah.
So I think that is important.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, which is good though. I mean, it's good that it's hard.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
why it's fun.
That's why it's rewarding when it works. When it goes well and you have a good set, you're like, heck yeah, man, I worked hard for that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's the best when you do that with jokes that used to suck.
Yes,
because that's the thing. Yeah. If it's like there are a couple jokes that I have like 2 jokes that I hate doing, and they do well. It's just they worked immediately.
Oh yeah,
and it's like it feels like I didn't.
Like maybe there's more to them, and you just haven't put in the effort to find it because they work so well.
Yeah, and it's like I didn't do anything for that. That's just
Well, just take those as easy wins too, though.
Yeah,
and they'll still evolve. You'll still add to those. There's still more to them.
Yeah, I appreciate them when I need them, but they're not as fun to do as the ones that like
you really had to work
used
for.
to stink. Yeah,
yeah, that's funny. Yes, it's a fun craft, man.
It is. It's very fun.
If I were you, I would move to Austin or somewhere.
Yeah, that's the plan at some point. Yeah. It's just it's so much to logistically take care of with just life.
You're 24, dude.
I know.
Yeah, you have nothing logistically holding you back.
Yeah. Just yeah, that's fair.
Life will be just as hard down there as it is here.
That's true. Yeah.
It'll be slightly less hard.
Yeah.
Because you'll be making money for comedy for sure. You'll be getting paid quickly. Yeah. You'll start getting paid for shows, and then and plus there's a lot more opportunities financially down there too.
Yeah.
Especially a guy your age.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. And there's just so many places to go now, but I think Austin is the move if you're going to move.
I think for you, yeah.
Especially within the next couple years at least, that's the move.
Like Decaro moved to New York, but he seems like a New York guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, New York is cool too, but just it's so expensive there. Like,
yeah, it is.
I just like New York. I would like to live there, but I just like, I mean, I don't know how anybody's doing it. It's so much money.
I couldn't live in New York because of my leg.
Oh, yeah.
All the walking, it would just devastate me. But,
But, I mean, I like the idea of it.
It is cool.
I can't pay like $3,500 for an apartment. Like,
I mean, you can get a better deal than that, but.
Yeah, I mean.
You'd probably do well in LA too.
Yeah, something about that seems like I would hate it.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of friends out in LA.
I don't see Ethan loving
family. It's a little pretentious.
Yeah.
A little fake because everybody's guarded.
Because that's the thing about New York. It's pretentious, but it feels like it's like honest at least. It feels like those people are just pretentious.
New York feels lonely to me.
Yeah.
I don't feel lonely in LA because LA is just it's just real big and spread out.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people, but you're still driving around and it's just kind of normal.
Yeah.
And the weather's great. New York is just so many people. It's like you're surrounded by people all the time.
Yeah.
And you're completely alone.
Yeah.
Like no one looks at you, nobody notices you.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
It's interesting. I mean, I enjoy visiting New York.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'd want to live there.
Yeah, it sounds fun, but then imagining waking up to like a fucking garbage truck outside my window would make me so mad.
Well, if I was 24, I wouldn't care.
Yeah, exactly. Right now it seems awesome, but it's so expensive.
If I was in New York at 24, I'd be up so late the garbage truck wouldn't wake me up.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd just be having fun.
I'd be driving the garbage truck.
Yeah, true. I'll be a garbage man.
Hey,
got good benefits.
Well, you know,
Union man.
Mark Norman was a janitor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said he took a janitor position so he could just write.
That's not a bad
He
idea.
said it's just a mindless job. You're just mopping.
Hunting
yeah.
So you just mop and just record, just talk.
Yeah,
that's like a crazy janitor out there just talking to yourself.
Which is every janitor. So not
that
crazy.
Just a normal janitor.
Yeah, fit the perfect description for a janitor.
Every janitor is trying to do stand up. That's what I'm hearing.
Have you ever met a guy who's a janitor? Like, have you ever really?
Chappy. Well, I mean, like my janitor at my school.
Yeah, I mean, like someone who like you knew before pre-custodian and then became a custodian.
There's a kid I went to school with. His name's Zane.
He's a janitor now?
Yep.
That's crazy. I've never met a
guy.
janitor.
Yeah.
That's definitely going to be a dying career.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, it's not a career
Roombas.
job. Yeah.
Just a big Roomba.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if I've ever met anybody who's a janitor.
I've known some people that owned janitorial companies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little bit nicer.
It's a good business.
Yeah, a little bit nicer of a job.
Nicer.
It's just the poop I couldn't do. Everything else sounds fine.
Yeah.
But then having to clean up poop and shit.
Honestly,
Poop and shit.
Honestly, it'd be the barf for me. I don't know why barf is worse than poop for me.
About the same.
Yeah, I'm pretty even on those.
Yeah, those are pretty tight.
Potato.
Because poop could be solid. You see like sometimes, barf is always liquid.
Yeah, but the smell is the same.
Yeah, either one of those could be the last day of my job.
Yeah, true.
Like, oh, this is it.
Yeah, and I've had to clean up puke before. I've never had to clean up shit.
If it's my kids, I don't care.
Oh yeah.
If it's my kids or my wife's, I'm good.
Yeah.
Or mine. Mine I like the least probably out of all those.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had to clean up human poop. It's always just been barf.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It's like to be in the position where you have to clean up human shit is such a crazy place to be that you're like, that's why it's so bad.
Yeah.
You're like, why did someone shit somewhere where I have to clean?
No, or it's what decisions have I made in my life?
Yeah. And what decisions did this person make to where this shit is not down the toilet already?
Yeah.
Probably the same decisions you made.
Yeah, true.
It's like crazy. Someone sees a pile of shit and they're like, "All right, call Ethan." Like you're the dude they think of.
It is funny to imagine just every like janitor has like been there, brother, and just like gets why it's on the floor. Every janitor has shitted on the floor at some point in their life and feels like they have to.
Yeah.
This is my karma points.
That's funny.
Shout out janitors.
Nothing against janitors.
Shout
by
out
the way.
No, that sounds awesome.
We need them. Janitors are highly underappreciated.
Custodians.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, custodians.
for a couple years till the fucking robots take their job
Yeah,
too.
Right, yeah.
I've been there, dude. Shit in the floor. Same thing. But yeah, puke's worse than shit for me.
Nah, opposite. Just because of the circumstances.
I guess barf feels less personal. Barf is like oops, but if like you're like shitting in the floor, it's like this is a statement.
And I've barfed anywhere you can barf. Like
Yeah.
I get why barf is on a floor. It's like you try to make it somewhere that's safe to barf, but you can't. You can't help barf. If you are shit on the floor, you meant to do that.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like a solid. If you saw like a turd on the floor, you're like, fuck you, dude. You meant to do that.
That's true.
That's one of my favorite like YouTube videos. This kid is in like a grocery store and he's just walking with his hands in his pockets and you just see him shake his pant leg and a turd just.
Oh, dude, this is my favorite thing that's ever happened. I worked at Costco for a little while and this old guy came up to me and he was like, really nice, seemed pretty calm, and he was wearing like cargo shorts and like a t-shirt. And he walked up and he was like, "Excuse me, sir, do you know where the bathroom is?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's right over here." Like I thought it was just a nice, friendly guy. And he's like, "Thank you." And he starts walking away, and then I realize shit is leaking down his leg.
Man, what a bad
and
day.
he's just leaving a trail of shit all the way to the bathroom.
Oh, man.
And he just was so chill about it.
What do you do?
Either he was like, "This happens all the time," or he was like, "I can't let anybody notice."
Yeah, play it cool.
Probably the latter.
Crazy. And then I wasn't me, but somebody had to just go and
Clean
mop
that
a
up.
pile of shit
Oh,
down
Also
a hallway.
solid, a pile. All right.
I mean, it was not a pile, but a
stream.
A stream, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. A trail.
God, this is horrible.
Yeah, it was gross.
Just
Shout
throw the
out
mop
Costco.
away.
Yeah, dude, you got to after that.
So what? Did you go to college or anything?
For like 3 semesters.
What did you study?
Business, which is why I quit. Because
That's why you're here, dude.
It's just I don't have that brain.
Okay.
I should have gone for something I liked, but I was like, I'll go for something that might make me money.
That's true, man. Anybody that's going to college, they should go for something they're interested in.
Yeah, and
Figure out what you're good at.
Yeah, I just have zero interest in that field. It's just not the way my brain works.
You must have some interest in business if you went to school for business. But you're technically an entrepreneur now. So.
Yeah, I just I just am bad at math, and anything with numbers fucks my brain up. And I was just kind of going because somebody wanted me to go. Like my parents wanted me to go.
That's an interesting thing, and
Yeah.
math. Why is math such it's like the math holes out there think that everybody should be good at math.
Yeah.
And everybody should enjoy math. Like not everybody enjoys everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and math is great, but there are other great things too that are just as important as math.
Yeah.
Math gets put on a pedestal. You're right.
And also, I can do math with a computer.
Yeah, exactly. And like
So it's kind of strange that that's this thing that you have to get so many different degrees.
yeah.
Because I don't really enjoy math either. There's certain maths that I like geometry. I use a lot of geometry, but
Yeah.
and I enjoyed geometry in school, but I hated algebra. I had no interest in it. I don't want to remember the equations. I just don't care. And I do wish I would have explored math more, because when I hear mathematicians talk about math, it's really interesting. I want to know what they're experiencing, because certainly they're experiencing something that I'm not.
Yeah.
Because
Maybe
they
it's like
see
when we
math.
read a joke.
Yeah, my only thing of math that's ever the only thing I've ever known about math is memorization. It's
That's
just
what it is,
memorize
yeah.
how this works and repeat it.
Right.
Rather than I feel like if you're a mathematician, you're trying to uncover something
Well, you're
about math.
You're a musician.
Yeah.
Well, any art, but you the more you do it, the better you get at it. And and in music, you have to remember all these scales and chords and keys and all this stuff. And once you memorize these things, it reaches a certain level where it just becomes natural.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to think about it. And I bet math is that way too. I bet once you learn all these equations and you memorize these equations and you start to understand, you just intuitively understand how the math works.
Yeah.
Maybe it becomes something. It seems like it becomes visual for mathematicians.
Yeah. And that's the thing is there's some people who are just naturally inclined to do that.
Right.
That's the thing with like music that comes a little bit more naturally to me than math does.
Because
so I don't have to learn
it
as hard as I do
Yeah.
math. Like just yeah.
Same, because if it's something you're into, like music, you're looking for certain vibrations that make you feel a certain way.
Yeah.
And when you find those, you don't forget those. Like I'm going to go to I like the feeling of this vibration. Oh, that's an A.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to keep going to that A because I like it. You know what I mean? Or and I'm sure math works the same way, but it shouldn't be. I think academically our system's very flawed when it's it's like trying to squeeze everybody through the same little hole.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different holes. Let's figure out where people should go. Like,
yeah.
So it's unfortunate because you should be able to get a business degree without having to take high levels of math. There's a lot of different.
Oh, they were low levels of math.
There are different strengths in business.
Yeah.
Outside of just math.
For sure.
And you have people that in business that are good at math and you can utilize those people. But
yeah. And that's the thing, I could have done it if I tried. But it's just like if I don't care about something, it's so hard for me to.
Yeah, well, that's why in a company you have a CEO and you have a CFO.
Yeah.
The CEO is not as good at math as the CFO typically. The CFO is the math guy, is the financial guy.
Yeah.
So it's or lady or whatever, the they, the them, or whatever. The person, the financial person.
Yeah.
The financial component.
Yeah.
Yeah. And pretty soon it won't even matter because it's all just going to be robots. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Nerds.
But yeah, I just. Yeah.
Because you're a very intelligent dude.
Thanks, man. I mean, I don't know if I'm very intelligent,
no,
but I could have done
intelligent.
math if I gave a fuck. I just didn't.
You just don't give a fuck about it, yeah.
And the thing with math is if you miss one thing, you're out.
Oh, yeah.
And I just never learned how to do imaginary numbers, and then it was over.
If you sat down right now and you memorized all the equations in algebra, you would be good at it.
I mean, yeah, I think I could do it.
You would hate it.
Yeah, but that's the thing is just I didn't care. And then if you're not going to college because you want to go to college and you feel like you need to, then it's just not.
Yeah. You need to go for something you're interested in.
Yeah, which is like that's like the weird thing about because I grew up fine. Like my parents make enough money. I grew up like in like a decent house. Like we were fine. So, but that's the issue if you have like the things you need is you don't have the drive to.
That's true.
Get a better education because it's like, I'm fine.
So I grew up really poor.
Yeah.
So for me, even just going to college was daunting. It was. Like, I actually had a scholarship to community college from a company I was working at in high school. And so I went for a year right out of high school. And I was like, I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah.
I know I have to work though.
Yeah.
Because I got to pay bills.
Yeah.
And so it was difficult going to school and having to work full time to pay to go or just cover my expenses in life.
Yeah.
And so I actually went back a little later and studied advertising and graphic design. I loved it.
Yeah.
And but I'm still an entrepreneur. I still started a business, but I'm glad I went to school for that because I really enjoyed it, and I still use those skills today. And I've learned way more about that than I did in school. But it was just school's like a foundation.
Because that's what I went for specifically. I went for entrepreneurship, but you don't get to do any of that stuff until you're like 2 or 3 years in,
or until you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like the first year is just like business 101 shit, and I'm just don't care. It's a lot of math, and then like economics and stuff. I was just like, I'd rather be chilling.
Right.
I'd rather be working, honestly, than doing that. Like, I'd rather be doing some sort of... It just feels so figurative and unpractical that I don't it's hard to, like, put your brain on it and realize that, like, this will be useful at some point.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a lot of experience in business. And so I wouldn't... Even if I were to get a degree, I wouldn't want it to be in, like, a bachelor's degree or even a master's degree. I wouldn't want it to be in business.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of business experience. I'd probably get a degree in philosophy or something.
Yeah, that's the thing. If I went back now, I'd go for like English.
Okay, yeah.
Like, because I always enjoyed those classes, and it's like that would keep me invested, and I can like logically think about books and stuff better than I can logically think about math for some reason.
Always what you're interested in. Well, you're a writer too.
Yeah, I guess.
No, you're definitely a writer. You're a comedian.
Yeah.
We're all writers. You're writing every day.
Yeah.
Creative writing.
True. That's the thing. If I went back, I would do that, and I would just like get a creative writing degree. And I mean, I'd be in the same spot I'm at.
Be the exact
I'd be in the
same.
exact same spot, but at least I like read more books.
Yeah, but you can do it on your own. You don't need, you can
with discipline.
Yeah, discipline's important. You know, that's a topic I've thought about a lot lately. Discipline, as I have a kid. And, and also my life. I've always been a very disciplined person as an adult.
Yeah.
But discipline is interesting because discipline is like, I think of discipline as a bubble.
Yeah.
And I think your discipline bubble should be really tight. Because if you don't have a lot of discipline, then the bubble's huge and you have no satisfaction in life. Like everything, it's like you're always anxious and searching for something to make you happy. But if you're disciplined though, then you're happier, I think. Because like if you, I mean, just think about it even like on a physical level. Like if you take care of your body, our bodies are like these animals that we inhabit.
Yeah.
Like your consciousness, it's like our conscious mind is a more complex entity than our physical body. Because our physical bodies are like animals that have been evolving over millions of years, and they have all these basic biological needs. But our consciousness sort of transcends our body, but it needs our body to navigate the world, and to experience life. And if you don't have discipline to control your body, your body can just take over, and then you struggle with addictions or weight issues, which is still addiction, and things like that. And you can get to a situation where your body is just controlling your mind. You have super high anxiety, you have depression, you have eating disorders, maybe it's drug problems, all these different issues, and it comes from a lack of discipline. And discipline's difficult, and discipline is suffering. It's very hard. So like as an entrepreneur, I deal with really high levels of stress and depression and all these things, but I have to be disciplined enough to overcome those issues, and I can't succumb to them.
Yeah.
So as the pressure dial gets turned up, I just have to push harder. And part of that is just working out. Like I tell people, like my trauma just manifests in muscles. It's just that helps me deal with these feelings, these really difficult feelings that we all experience, and it keeps me from succumbing to those things.
Yeah.
And it also keeps your mind clear. If you have discipline, you can have a clearer mind and you can make better choices, better decisions in life.
Yeah.
And you see it with kids too, man. If you don't discipline your child, and I'm not saying physically discipline, I don't think you should physically punish your kid, but if you don't discipline your child and teach them, give them parameters and not necessarily be strict on them, but just set barriers and also have requirements. Help them set goals and like with my daughter, I have her. She does all of her difficult stuff first, and then she does the fun stuff. So she does her homework, her reading, her math, all that stuff she has to do first, and then she can do fun things. She also draws every day. She's a little artist. She's very talented, and she loves to draw and write, and so I'll have her spend at least an hour a day just doing those things that she enjoys doing that she's good at.
Yeah.
Before she does the real easy stuff.
Yeah.
And she's a happy kid, and it really serves her well. But I've seen other kids that don't have any discipline at all, or maybe their parents just let them have what they want to have, or they don't give them they don't put those barriers in place, and they don't have any structure.
Yeah.
And those kids typically aren't very happy. Like those kids are really obnoxious usually. They're unruly and they're unhappy and they're just restless.
Yeah.
And they're full of anxiety and they just because their bubble's too big.
Yeah.
It's like if your bubble's huge, like you can't figure out where to be comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think discipline is extraordinarily important, and especially as an artist and an entrepreneur, if you want to be really successful, nobody's going to make you do it.
Yeah.
Like it's all up to you, and so that's where discipline comes in. Like I'm going to write every day for at least 2 hours a day, or at least 4 hours a day. You know, I'm going to work out every day for at least an hour. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to get rid of all the candy in my diet. You know, it's these things. Those principles are what will make people successful.
Yeah.
And you know, most of the successful people I know, they're masters of discipline, at least in certain areas. You know, you can be a master in discipline in certain areas and then fail in other areas too.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just it's not easy. You know, I think we're in hell.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Literally, yeah, life is hell. That's the thing. I don't know. I don't have much discipline. but
you have a lot of discipline too, though.
I have it with stand up.
Yeah.
For some reason that just just because I like it.
Because you care about it.
Yeah, but everything else, I guess I just don't give a fuck.
But the other stuff, if you can start to tighten the constraints in those other areas, it'll actually help you in comedy too, in stand up.
In comedy, at least what you have to do. It makes it easier. It's like I just have to do it every day.
Yeah.
And I have to think about it all the time.
Yes.
And if I'm doing those two things, then I'll get better at it. That's pretty easy discipline to have, but it's everything else.
It's a muscle you can work all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a muscle that kind of takes over everything else.
Yes.
So it's like, if it's pretty easy to have the discipline of the thing of being like, just do this all the time. It's like, oh, okay, I can wrap my mind around that.
Yeah.
But then it's like, do the dishes. It's like, oh, come on.
But also, you know, doing these other things too will help the art or help the thing that you really care about. You know, it's because if you let these other things go, those things will eventually keep you from the thing you want to do.
Yeah. And those are like the things that make you like a person.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have to be a person to do anything. So
yeah.
Because I think I'm naturally predisposed to just being lazy and depressed and being like everything sucks. But
what's your body?
Yeah.
Our body is just I really believe that all of our incredible technological innovations and stuff are really just to make us more comfortable.
Yeah.
It's really just our bodies seeking comfort.
Yeah.
It's like, man, if we can make this thing that will do all my shit, I don't have to do anything.
Yeah. True.
I can just sit still and be comfortable.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
And I feel like we had that in the beginning, like, all right, figure out a way to eat and not get chased by wolves. And then that's great. And then it's like, okay,
created
how
dogs.
do I... now it's just like, oh, how can I do this without getting off my couch, which is bad. But, like, it starts off good, and then it just turns into something else.
Because once you're like, how do I get food? And then you find a way to consistently get food, and then you're just sitting there eating going, what the fuck is the point? You know?
Yeah.
And that's like the...
But you say the thing about being lazy, but that's not really accurate. And I don't think we all like to be comfortable.
Yeah.
But we all like to be productive too.
Yeah.
And the people, I think a lot of people that don't like to be productive, they just don't know what they can be productive at.
Yeah, I think so. That's a lot of it.
I think there's, So I
think just being passionless will make you very lazy.
Yeah, well, it'll just kill you.
Yeah.
You'll just die. Because if you're not serving a purpose, you're just dying. And so I think, you know, if you know what you love and you're passionate about it, then you can get obsessed with it. Yeah. And you'll work really hard at that thing. It's the things you don't want to do that you can be lazy about, and that's where the discipline comes in.
Yeah.
And that's where suffering comes in on a different level. So I don't, you know, I think most people aren't inherently lazy. I think most people, I think a lot of people are just they're born into really negative circumstances and they have very difficult lives. And a lot of people are also intellectually impaired too. So if you don't have a certain intellectual capacity, then you're kind of fucked. Like you can't make it but so far. And if you can't solve problems, you really are going to have a difficult life. And that's not really fair because we should value that person's time, just maybe not as equally to everybody else's time, but I think your time should be valuable enough to cover your basic needs. And so I think we'll probably have to have some type of UBI system in the near future because of AI, because it's going to take all the jobs. And so I think for people to have meaning, they still need to have some incentive to be productive and to contribute to society. So I think as long as you're contributing at least 30 to 40 hours of your life, of your time to the society, and it could be maybe in the pursuit of something you enjoy or something that you have interest in.
Yeah.
That should cover your basic needs.
Yeah.
And so I think the biggest problem with people is and with our education system is it doesn't identify what people are good at. It should our educational system should identify people's strengths and weaknesses and say, okay, you're strong in these areas, so these are the types of things you're probably going to be interested in. We should introduce you to these different ideas and see what resonates with you. And when you find the one that you really enjoy and appreciate, that's where we're going to focus. We're going to point your focus in that direction. And I think that's going to happen with education very soon because of AI. Because when you have an education system where maybe you're sitting in class, or maybe you're not even in class, maybe you have a headset on and you're in a class and it feels like you're right here and everybody has photorealistic avatars. Yeah. So it's like you're in class and you're bored or something's not clicking or you're having an issue. Well, all of a sudden, maybe the teacher's an AI, but it looks just like a human, seems just human. But then suddenly that teacher's right in front of you, mutes the whole class, and it's just you and the teacher. And the teacher's asking you what you're having trouble with and why you're having trouble with it. And it says, and maybe the teacher says, okay, well, clearly you're not interested in this topic, and let me just evaluate you real fast and see why. And then it discovers like you just have no interest in this thing, but you're really interested in this other thing. It's like, okay, I'm going to put you in this other class. And it just beams you to this other class. And suddenly you're engaged and you're learning something that you want to learn, and you're really learning, and you suddenly have meaning. Yeah. And then you can pursue that thing, and that doesn't only help you, but it helps everybody, because if we can find out what all of us are good at and get to doing that thing, then the whole society is going to work better. Instead, you have a huge chunk of society that doesn't know what they're good at. They have no purpose or meaning in life. So they're all unhappy. They're all depressed and anxious and just miserable, and that's like a sickness. That's not helping us as a society. That's actually making our society worse. And so I think we're about to reach a level where we can address those issues and make them better, hopefully, or we'll just all be slaves to some. Yeah,
or everybody will fucking die.
Yeah, that too. We'll all be employees of BlackRock and Vanguard, and if you get in trouble, you have to go to HR.
Yeah, it's like, aren't we kind of already? Yeah. Everybody works for Amazon at this point, it seems like.
Well, I like Amazon. The thing I like about Amazon is Amazon is a middleman. Yeah. Amazon is like a virtual mall. And most of the businesses on Amazon are not Amazon. They're it's a marketplace. And it's a digital market. Jeff Bezos was just brilliant. He just realized we have this thing now that connects us all digitally. So there's a whole other world that we can't even see that isn't physical. It's in our minds. And so he's like, I'm going to create a marketplace in our minds. And I mean, it was pretty amazing what he did. Yeah. It worked.
I'd say Amazon's pretty good.
Yeah. They're on top of it.
Yeah. I'm going to say they're doing all right.
Yeah. So that's, I really respect Jeff Bezos on a business level. Yeah. I'm not sure what he is like as a person. He's a little Lex Luthorish, but
yeah, I mean, he's just a nerd who got rich. That's what happens.
Yeah. I don't think he's a bad person. I don't think he's necessarily a great person either. I just think he's just,
I think anybody who's like
a great businessman.
Yeah, I think anybody who gets to that level and is so business minded that they forget that there's humans there, then that's when problems occur.
Yeah, I feel like Elon Musk is a little more empathetic. Yeah, but he's also autistic, so it's hard to see his empathy. Yeah, and he's also a troll, and he's a genius, so it's hard to. Sometimes it's difficult to understand what his play is. Yeah, like he just filed a lawsuit against OpenAI, and I understand he was one of the founders of OpenAI, and the whole point of OpenAI was to be open source.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, a very, very important thing.
Yeah.
And they're not OpenAI anymore. Now they're OpenAI, but they're closed.
Yeah.
And
that's yeah.
And so he's raised a lot of attention to that, and he stepped away because of that. But I think he should have stayed because of that. If he's the only guy in the whole organization that wants to be open sourced, why are you going to walk away? You're like the last hope.
Yeah, I think it just.
Well, I think he thought, well, I'll just go do it on my own.
Yeah.
Because he does that, and he's probably the best at it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'll just go do it on my own. I can do whatever they're doing. I can do it. I can build a team. I'll create something better than what they've got. And he didn't. And so, because they are just the best.
Yeah.
At AI. For whatever reason, they just have the best team right now.
Yeah.
And he realizes that, and I think he suspects they already have AGI.
Oh yeah.
And they just haven't released it. And so I think he filed this lawsuit. He filed the lawsuit claiming that it was because he was mad about them
closing the
source and going private. And I think he's actually just trying to slow them down so he can catch up. And I think that's the reason he signed that letter too 6 months ago, saying that AI should be halted for 6 months or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I think all those business people signed that letter not because they were being altruistic. It was because they wanted to catch up.
Yeah, no,
like,
definitely.
oh shit, we missed the fucking bus, man. Like
Yeah.
we gotta slow them down.
Yeah, that dude has he's doing so many things at once. It's like
But I think ultimately he does care.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think he's important. He's an important figure. But I don't think everything he does is just purely out of the goodness of his heart. I think he's also got some financial interest. And I don't think any of us do.
No, and especially that field, I think can get real convoluted where they are forgetting that progress isn't always the greatest. Like like innovation in like science isn't always the best for progress of humanity. Where it's like you can kind of get blindsided by the fact that you're doing so well at the thing you've been trying to
bombs.
do. Exactly. And that's the thing. And everybody was so excited about it until they dropped it and they were like, oh, fuck, what did we just do?
Yeah.
And I think especially because you can get like that in any field. They just happen to be making things that are going to change the world. So it's like if you kind of get blinders on to like the excitement of that you're doing the thing well rather than realizing what you're doing.
Well, I just watched an interview with that interview I just watched of his. He brought up the AI apocalypse, and he said someone asked because he's afraid of AI.
Yeah.
Or he respects it. He understands the
weight,
like the trepidations people have about it.
No, like the weight or the what's the word?
Like the value.
The way it could fuck everything up.
Yes, he understands the what is the word?
I just said it. No.
That's
dangers. The dangers.
Yeah, but it's like all encompassing.
Like he understands the worst case scenario. Like he understands.
He understands the potential that AI has, positive or negative, and so he is very cautious about it. But he said someone asked him, "Well, would you rather just stop it, or would you rather, if you knew there was going to be an AI apocalypse, would you want to stop it?"
Yeah.
And he's like, he said, he said, I asked myself, would I rather live in a world with no AI and none of this amazing innovation, or would I want to live in a world that had an AI apocalypse? And he's like, I want to live in a world that has an AI apocalypse. And I understand what he's saying though.
Wait, who said
it's
that?
like what he's really saying is that as powerful as this technology is, it can be very good.
Yeah.
Like it's this technology could be used. It could be the worst thing that's ever happened to us, or it could be the best thing that's ever happened to us. So it's up to us. Yeah. And I think it goes back to even ancient religions. Like even in the Bible, Jesus had made this statement about the kingdom of heaven is on earth, but man can't see it. And I think, what those ancient texts and scriptures were talking about is this life can be heaven or hell. It's whatever we make it. And if we all want it to be something, if we all want it to be heaven collectively, it'll be heaven. And if we all choose to be selfish and greedy and hateful and mean, it'll be hell. You know, it's just an expression of our will.
Yeah,
and our intentions.
If given the choice, humans will always more than likely be selfish.
Well, no, not necessarily. If you look at Steven Pinker had that book that came out several years ago called Enlightenment Now. Mm-hmm. And he's a brilliant psychologist, and he did he compiled all the data. And if you look at the data from the beginning of recorded history, humans have consistently gotten better. I mean, it's a continual improvement. There are blips where millions of us die.
Yeah,
and we don't want to be in a blip, but we do continually improve.
It's really funny to call the Holocaust a blip.
It's a bad blip, man.
Ooh, little blemish there.
Oh,
it's the worst thing that's ever happened.
We saw our metaphorical trip.
Yeah, it's just like, eef.
Fell down there. Skipped my knee. It's like God skinning his knee.
Oh, yeah. Skinned it real bad.
But,
bone showing.
But hopefully we can avoid those. Like the Cold War was one of those. It could have been one of those. The 80s, man, we could have destroyed the world. That could have been the end of humanity as we know it.
Yeah.
And we made it through it.
Yeah. And we've been pretty good since.
Yeah, we've done
relatively.
Well, now we just destroy impoverished nations.
Yeah,
we work out all of our shit with the poor people, and just they suffer.
Like, it's easier to pick on people that don't have nuclear bombs.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, yeah, or just fight the global powers that have the nuclear weapons fight each other with people that don't.
Yeah,
it's like Ukraine is a chessboard.
Yeah, basically.
Or Palestine or what? It's horrible. It's a big problem, and I think. That's the power of this technology and the power of the internet is we all see it and we're like, what are we doing? Like, why are we doing this? Is pointless. Why are we doing this?
Yeah, but the scary part about that is I think kind of everybody I know realizes that it's a really bad thing and nothing's
changed.
Stopping it.
I think it would be way worse if we couldn't see it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so, but it doesn't seem like it's. I don't know. It doesn't seem like anything's changing with it, and it's like that's what you look back at. Like
it is though. It is. Yeah.
I hope
it is. It's changing. I mean, it's you can see the brakes being applied.
Yeah.
We are barreling towards a cliff.
Yeah, but it's the same.
But we're
thing
all standing on the brakes.
Yeah.
And hopefully we have enough time to stop.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, it's just scary how long it can happen after everybody kind of realizes that it's wrong, and how long it takes some people to realize the stubbornness of someone's brain that will let them think it's still okay just because they don't want to be wrong.
The scary part about it is that we can be so dissociated from it.
Yeah.
Because there are human beings, there are families. I'm a dad. I have a 7-year-old little girl, man. She's the best thing in the world. Like she is my world. Like she's everything to me. And there are thousands of her dying right now, being murdered.
Yeah.
And I feel like how is that okay with anybody? You know what I mean? Like how can anybody, especially if you're somebody in a position where you can affect that?
Oh, yeah. Well, I feel like to get to the point where you can affect that, you have to have already put on so much. Like, you've already had to turn such a blind eye to horrible shit to get to a place of power that you could affect something like that.
I'm pretty sure that our nations and our biggest organizations, for the most part, are ran by narcissistic psychopaths.
Yeah, because that's the only way you could do that job.
Well, I don't think it's the only way you do it. I think you want people in those positions that don't necessarily want to be in those positions.
Yeah.
Especially in politics. I think you want people that really want. I think people that really, first and foremost, care about humanity, and they don't want to be in those positions. They know those positions are really difficult places to be, and you have to make hard decisions, and you have to make those decisions with humanity first. You know, that should be your first. Your main objective is like, whatever decision I make, I want this decision to be the best thing for humanity, not for my financial well-being or my financial interests. I want it to be, how will this affect people? And those are hard decisions to make. And it's like when you're dealing with things like poverty and stuff, you can't fix that in one day.
Yeah.
You have, but you can say every day, I'm going to do a little bit more to fix it.
Yeah. And we had one president who did that, and everybody called him a pussy.
Right.
Jimmy Carter was the nicest dude ever, and really tried to take steps towards fixing those problems, and everybody called him a pussy.
Yeah, I don't think maybe he didn't go about it the right way.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He is the only.
But he wanted to do. I understand what you're saying.
And he had goodness in his heart, and he's the only person.
But the economy was shitty at the time.
Yeah,
people were suffering, and business was. I think you can do it in a way where the economy still does very well.
Yeah.
There's still tons of opportunities. You can create more opportunities. And you just have to have an incentivized system, and you have to rethink currencies. And also, it's such a big establishment that you have to you have to retool the system, and that's very difficult.
And that's almost impossible for the president to do.
Well, yeah, of course. The president's never going to... The president is like a spokesperson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As a spokesperson with ideas. But the whole thing is so complex, and there's so many different departments and divisions and organizations within the organization that make decisions. So I think you need a president who is not controlled by power, who's not completely corrupted, which may not even be possible today. But if you can get someone in there like RFK, I like RFK a lot because he's an anti-power guy, and even if you don't agree with everything he says, his main objective is people, and that's like my main requirement for a leader is someone that puts people first, and also realizes the complexity of our issues and realizes that these things are incremental and they take a long time to change.
Yeah.
But we have to start changing them because they'll never change if you don't start changing them. And so, but I think we could create a society where you have where we reevaluate what currency is, how currency works, how many currencies we have, and the value of the currencies based on the value of the individuals in the society, and I think we can create a really positive thing, and I think eventually it can be an awesome place to live. And America's a pretty good place to live anyway, and there's a lot of countries that are good places to live. There's a lot of places that are terrible places to live too, and a lot of that is because of countries like us. Yeah, and so. That's part of the equation is, when people are pouring over your borders, it's like, hey, dude, what's happening over there? Why are you guys coming over here? Maybe we should invest, instead of sending $80 billion to Ukraine, maybe we should send $80 billion to Central America. Yeah. And since it's next door.
At least we should understand like the problems and the
and not just send money,
on.
But actually send infrastructure, what's causing your issues? Let's try to figure out what's causing these issues, and then that'll help us fix our problems.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We always do that, but we never do it for the right
No,
reasons.
we always do it.
Yeah, we send infrastructure all the time, but it's just to prop up a fake guy who's going to give us oil cheap.
Yeah, or we send money to Ukraine because the weapons companies are making billions of dollars.
Yeah. Like, what was that dude? Never mind, I don't know enough about this. But there was like, it was like Iran or Iraq or something when we sent like a...
the Sheik?
Yeah, we propped up this dude who was kind of an idiot, and we made him like write a book like he was smart, and it was all just like
we've done that a lot.
Yeah, it was all just nonsense.
Yeah. we did that in Ukraine actually. I think in 2014.
Oh, really?
With the previous president of Ukraine, we put him in power. Yeah, and he didn't work out.
Yeah, we do that all the time. We did it in Vietnam. I'm watching like the Ken Burns documentary about Vietnam right now. One. So good.
We're notorious for doing that, by the way.
Yeah, and it's like. But it's like, can we get a guy who knows what's going on?
But we don't have good intentions.
Yeah.
Like, our intentions behind it aren't good. It's like, I question why we left all that equipment in the Middle East recently.
Yeah, who knows?
It's probably just so we can go back later.
Yeah, my question is, was it like, were we really just like, we have to get out now because it's the only time it's going to look good? Or like, was it like a Trump didn't do it, so now we have to do it immediately? Or was it like a... we're leaving this here on purpose? Because also they just took it all, and now
we did the same thing in the 90s or the late 80s.
Yeah,
and
that's why
that led to the war in the Middle East that lasted 20 years.
Yeah, I mean we
that
do it all
wasn't
the time.
Considered a war.
We did it with Vietnam. That's the reason we gave them all weapons, and then we're like, then they turned around and were like, "Thank you, we're gonna kill you guys." Yeah, which is what they should have done because they were being screwed.
Yeah, you murder people's families, they're going to hate you.
Yeah,
that's kind of how that works.
Everything sucks.
We're in hell.
Well, a lot of things suck, but a lot of things don't suck,
stuff.
and I think a lot of these things in a few years become pointless.
Yeah,
and that's a good thing.
Yeah,
hopefully, or it could really suck.
Yeah, it could be really bad.
It could be like that here.
Yeah, that's the fun part. Is everything could get better.
I
or
guarantee, if your neighbor's
worse.
house gets blown up with a missile, you'll hate war.
Yeah, that's fair.
We won't like it anymore.
No, I don't like it now.
I don't like it either.
I don't get who likes it.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people just don't care.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of people just. It's not. We're so good at war, it doesn't inconvenience us.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Dude,
but we're all paying for it though.
I was so easily turned on. I remember being a kid and being like, you're like, oh, war heroes, beat your heroes. And then you get older and then you watch like one video of an old guy talk about World War II and you're just like, oh, this sounds horrible.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
And our soldiers are heroes, by the way.
Yeah. But
if you're willing to, we need soldiers. We need a military. We need guys that are willing to do whatever they have to do to keep us protected. And the biggest atrocity with that is that, these guys. So as a soldier, you give up all your rights as a citizen. You become property of the government, and you also forfeit your life in a lot of ways. And so you're willing to do whatever the orders are to be a fully committed soldier. And even if those orders, even if you know that what you're doing goes against everything you believe in, you have to follow the orders. Because if you have a military that, if you have soldiers in the military that question the orders, then the whole system falls apart and you have no security.
Yeah.
And so you can't, a soldier, I heard, what's his name? Who's that?
Hezbollah.
I heard this guy, he's an ex-Navy SEAL. So someone was asking him about, like, well, aren't you worried about, like, what about those people? They're like just people just like us. And he's like, fuck that, they're the enemy.
Yeah.
Like, I've got to do what I've got to do. That's my orders. That's what I'm doing. And it's a different mentality. I can't think that way. That's why I'm not a soldier. But but I get it. And it's not
the necessity of it.
The soldier going in and fighting. Even if the fight is immoral and it's just for money and it's corrupt, the blood's not on the soldier's hand. The soldier is doing what he's supposed to do to be a part of our military.
Yeah.
And the blood is on the hands of the politicians that are leading them into that situation. And so I think that's why a lot of soldiers, I think, have all these problems too, because
for sure, because they're doing the worst things ever. Because
it's
sad.
It's like the worst form of corruption.
Yeah.
That and also in science, we have so many financial conflicts of interest in our scientific community now and our medical community that you shouldn't. The science is one of those things. It was always like a fundamental core of our society. It's how you get information, and it's one thing you can trust.
Yeah.
And
also the thing you should trust the least.
Well, it
they're
shouldn't
constantly
be.
Questioning
the
validity of everything they do, which is why it works so well.
For sure, yeah, absolutely. But it should be something as a citizen in the society you should be able to trust the most.
Yeah.
But it's been corrupted with money, and so you have corporate interests that have. The problem is you have these powerful corporations that write our laws. They have so much influence because they've corrupted the regulators, the people that are supposed to regulate these things, that now they are the ones writing a lot of the laws. They're influencing how the laws work, and that works in their favor. So now they can have things that should be considered conflicts of interest that are just the law.
Yeah.
And so then information becomes very difficult to decipher. Like it gets very confusing. Like, what can I rely on? What is truthful? What is not truthful?
Yeah.
So those are really unfortunate things. I think that hopefully we'll see resolved in the next couple decades.
Yeah, I also wonder though. It's like was this not a problem at one point, and then one time we decided, or were we just getting one narrative that was already paid off
It's both.
by somebody else?
There's some of both. I think I've thought a lot about this too. I think like when I was a kid, there was no internet.
Yeah.
There were like a few networks, and all of our information came from a few networks. So sure, there was a lot of propaganda, but also the companies were much smaller back then. So you had a lot more companies, and they were competing against each other, and they didn't have as much influence as they do today. And also the journalists that worked for these even for these big corporate media companies, those journalists had a different level of they had different ethics. They had there was an integrity to journalism back then that doesn't seem to exist as much today. It exists in independent journalism, but I feel like a lot of your big journalists have been so corrupted by money. And
well, that was Reagan. He wasn't before that journalists couldn't take money for certain things, and now now journalists can be these privatized networks that are owned by companies, and then now Fox is basically owned by whatever their sponsors are, and now they are the reason they're giving
Disney
the news.
owns Fox,
and they're giving the news for that reason rather than
it's corporations. A corporation's main objective is to make money. And anything that gets in the way of that is you have to go against it. Because that's how corporations work. If you're the CEO of a corporation, your interest is in the profits of the company and the company itself and the shareholders. And if you don't put them first, they'll just eject you and put somebody else in there. So I never trust corporate media because you can't. It's not in their interest to serve you.
But then I'm like, I don't know. It's like it seems like it was better before because they were just telling you the news. They were just kind of telling you what happened. But it's like, was that funded by somebody? Is there a reason? We just were seeing no other narratives.
Well, I think it's better now because you have good independent journalists who are credentialed, credible, excellent journalists who are independent, and they can be on their own. So that's the decentralizing nature of technology. So you have better journalists that are independent than you have working for these big corporate companies, because the ones that really care and are masters of their craft, most of those journalists are on their own now. And you just have to seek them out and find them and make sure that they're reputable. And there's plenty of them. So
definitely.
So I think. And also that is an optimism of hope, or an area of hope in our society, is that those sources of information, those journalists, are doing very well. They're actually in a lot of cases doing better than the corporate organizations, and I think that'll continue. And also the just politically independents in the United States, I think, make up 40% of the voting.
Yeah, it's going up for sure.
So I think 40% of voters are now independents. So that's huge. That's enough to win elections. And so that's a big thing because both parties are corrupted now. Because all these politicians, they're all on the same team. They're like, it's like professional wrestling. It's like they're pretending they're on different teams, but the real team owners are the same companies, that control everything.
Definitely.
So so I don't know. There's reason to be hopeful. And there's reasons to not be hopeful.
Yep. Everything could be awesome or horrible.
Yeah.
That's the new name of the podcast.
Awesome or horrible. It's a good name. What shows do you have going up?
When's this come out, Seth?
Next week, Monday.
March 16th, Four Eyes Comedy Show at Acme Comics downtown, Greensboro. Come out. That'll be fun.
That's your that's your show, right?
I host that show. It'll be a good lineup.
Well, you produce it too, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. Nick Chacha helps me a little bit,
nice.
But I do most of the stuff. And then
he's your whipping boy.
He is my whipping boy. And then May 11th, me and Seth Kerman are co-headlining the Idiot Box.
Nice.
So that should be fun.
That'll be awesome.
Come out for that.
I'll be there.
Watch me bomb.
Yeah. No, you're a very funny comic, man.
Thanks,
It'll
man.
be a good show.
You too.
Thanks, dude.
You too, Seth.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. I'm going to turn this podcast around if you keep complimenting me.
You're so talented.
Stop it.
Well, dude, it's been awesome having you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We'll have you back.
Yeah.
For sure. Have you on different shows and stuff
for
too.
Sure.
So. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you next week.